Daniel 9:27 is again another prophecy I believe we're about to see. We're on the cusp of seeing fulfilled right before our very eyes. It speaks of the Antichrist confirming this covenant with the Jews, with the Muslims, and all of the nations, and bringing this peace and beginning a 7-year period. It says, he, speaking of the Antichrist, will confirm a covenant with many for 1 7, a period of 7. In the middle of the 7, the 3.5-year mark, he will put an end to sacrifice and offering, and on a wing of the temple, he will set up an abomination that causes desolation until the end that is decreed is poured out upon him. So in other words, through the prophet Daniel, we're told that the Antichrist is going to come on the scene, and he's going to bring about a two-state solution, so to speak. He's going to bring the Jews and the Arabs together. He's going to say to the Jews, you can rebuild your temple. Then at the 3.5-year mark, he's going to demand to be worshipped. He's going to desecrate the temple. He's going to do the unthinkable, unclean, sacrifice, some believe, a pig on the altar and sprinkle the blood, which then will wake up and shake up the Jews, who will realize this cannot be their Messiah. You have to understand that the Jews are going to accept this Antichrist in place of Christ as their Messiah. And that's what Christ means, is anointed one or Messiah. So they think, and Antichrist doesn't just mean against Christ, it means in the place of Christ. So they're going to accept him. See, the Jews are still looking for their Savior. So they accept him. He makes this peace agreement with them. He allows them to rebuild the temple, and then he demands that they worship him in the temple. And when he does this, they realize he cannot be our Messiah. And they flee for the last 3.5 years to, I believe, Petra in modern-day Jordan. And that's where God's going to protect them for the last 3.5 years of the 7-year tribulation. Now, there's another interesting prophecy here that all fits in. And if it seems a little bit discombobulated, bear with me. I'll try to bring it all together and it'll hopefully make some sense. The previous chapter in Daniel's prophecy, chapter 8, verses 24 and 25, tell us how the Antichrist is going to do this. How is he going to bring? Nobody's been able to do this heretofore. Everyone who has tried has failed. Only one, and he is the Antichrist, will actually pull it off. And here's how. And his power, speaking of the Antichrist, shall be mighty, but not by his own power. And he shall destroy wonderfully. How's that for an oxymoron? And shall prosper and practice and shall destroy the mighty and the holy people, and through his, and I love the King James here, watch this, and through his policy he shall cause craft to prosper in his hand, and he shall magnify himself in his heart, and by peace shall destroy many. That's how he's going to do it. He's going to use peace as the catalyst for the destruction of Israel as the Antichrist, with the world under his control. And by peace shall destroy many. He shall also stand up against the Prince of Princes, speaking of Jesus, but he shall be broken without hand. Okay. Now I know some of you are looking at me going, oh, dude, this is kind of heavy stuff. Well, it is. And I need for you to think through what I'm about to share with you and really ask the Lord to give you understanding, because you have been misinformed. Can I say it this way? We are being lied to. We have been told that which is patently untrue. There's a great book for any of you who would be interested. It's not an easy read. In fact, it's a very difficult read. I had to put it down on many occasions. It's just too intense. But with unprecedented documentation, the writer, the author of the book, Ramon Bennett, documents history as it happened. And in this book, Philistine, the Great Deception, takes you through the whole history of this so-called land that some call Palestine. I'll never forget, many, many years ago, we had just gotten back from Israel, where we had went for the first time. And I'm talking to one of my Palestinian relatives. And I told him, I said, you know, we just got back from Israel. And he looked at me I mean, if looks could kill, as they say, I mean, this made stink eye like kindergarten. He gave me, not stink eye, it was something eye, but I mean, he looked at me with an emotionless expression like, and then he said, Israel? Israel? You mean Palestine? Oh, I thought, oh yeah, I forgot. See, I was raised in a home that believed that the land belonged to the Palestinians. In his book, he gives us great detail and understanding into the why behind the what. This is how the Antichrist is going to do it. And it is Islam to the core. And this, again, is why I believe it is that Islam will play a key role in the final one world religion. Listen to what he says. Arabs hold to a strong belief in the proverb that they can remedy the present only with the remedies of the past. They look to the two most famous figures in Islam's long history of warfare, Muhammad and Saladin, in order to remedy the present. And their concept of peace is the same as Muhammad and Saladin, a coin one must pay to achieve something else. What is that coin? The coin is peace. Quote, peace for us means the destruction of Israel. Through peace he will destroy many. Through peace the coin he pays will yield the destruction of Israel. I have videotape, this is pre-DVD, of Yasser Arafat when he was alive addressing in English saying, we want peace. Oh, really? And then in Arabic, you would hear him say, peace for us means the destruction of Israel. He's holding true to Muhammad and Saladin. And if you go back into the 7th century and you see what Islam has done, they make peace with their enemies, and then they go in for the kill, and they destroy many vis-a-vis peace. That's what's going on. This so-called two-state solution, it is the catalyst. It is the peace catalyst. It is that coin for the destruction of Israel. It's interesting, Daniel, did you catch it? Says he will not do it in his own power. In other words, he will be empowered, he will be possessed by Satan himself, who, by the way, has from the beginning of time desired the total annihilation, termination, and elimination of God's chosen people, the Jews. Why? Because, see, the seed from the woman, the proto-evangelicum as it's called, will come from the Jewish people. That's why Cain killed Abel. Satan is not all-knowing, and he thought the seed would come from Abel. It didn't come from Abel, it came from Seth. But you go through all the Old Testament, and what do you find? You find even when you get into Esther with Haman wanting to annihilate the Jewish people. See, Satan knows that the Savior, the Redeemer of the world, has to come from the Jewish people. He tried to thwart the first coming, but was unsuccessful. So now what's he trying to do? Thwart the second coming? And all of Israel will get saved, Romans tells us, and all of Israel during the tribulation, which is the purpose of the tribulation, right? You remember? The purpose of the tribulation for the salvation of the Jewish nation. Everybody now. The purpose of the tribulation is not for the church. The purpose of it's the time of Jacob's trouble, Israel. It's not the time of the church's trouble. By the way, this is as bad as it gets. Yeah. Then the rapture takes place, and then the tribulation. We will not be here for the 7-year tribulation. And the Bible teaches it, and I know that there are some who do not believe that, but Bombay, they'll figure it out. Okay, I'm getting a little bit carried away here. Here's the question. Didn't Israel take the land from the Palestinians? No. Okay, let's move on. Listen again now to history. Arabs claim that Jews forced millions of Palestinian Arabs from the lands they had farmed for thousands of years. We know